my fellow readers, it is time to pick my March TBR, but of course before I do the actual picking for the TBR, I will talk quickly about my reads for February. So my big library book I do not have with me. I wanted to get a copy of the book to bring in, but it's checked out because it was a very popular read. The choice was a book that intimidates you, and I ended up choosing The Reformatory by Tananarive Due. I've been putting off that book because I guess it intimidates me. It was a pretty hefty book, but it was also the topic that I kind of was intimidated by because I knew it was going to be really serious, and I was really worried for the health and safety of the characters. So in The Reformatory, I guess the crux of the story is, and it's told between the two sibling characters. So there's the sister who is trying to take care of her brother the best that she can. Their mother has passed away, and their father ended up getting into trouble. He's been accused of attacking and assaulting a woman, a white woman, and they're black. And so their community is already determining that he's guilty, even though he did not. He has been falsely accused. And the woman could technically clear his name, but she's afraid of maybe her original attacker. I don't remember if they made that clear, but she just won't come out and say that he didn't do it. Also, the town in general kind of is out to get the father. So he's had to flee. He has fled to Chicago. I'm trying to remember which state they're in. They're down south. And now I'm spacing. But anyway, they're down south, but the father has fled to Chicago and away from all of this crime. That being said, due to that, they're kind of trying to lure him back so that they can arrest him. And they do a lot of terrible things and have done a lot of terrible things. So originally, he had built his family a house, a nice proper home, and it has since been burned down. I think that was before the father left. So they fled from that house, and they're currently living at the second home, which was a little cabin, I think off closer to the lake shore or something. I don't remember, but they're living a cabin in the woods. And it's been rough. Originally, the two kids were kind of living with a caretaker, but I don't know. I can't remember if she felt bad. I'm trying to remember, what's her name? Gloria? I feel like I'm going to get it wrong. But she felt bad kind of imposing, and it's just one of those kind of bad situations where she didn't want to bring negativity onto the person, and the community's been really rough on the kids because of the accusations against their father. Yeah, so Gloria. Okay, I was right. Am I right about that? So Gloria is a sister, and she's currently kind of being the caretaker. And the story opens innocently enough where she's just gotten boots for her brother from the father, and they're too big, and so her brother Robbie is kind of complaining about it, and I believe Robbie's only 10, he's a middle schooler, and Gloria's not that old either. I think she's maybe 15, 16. I think she's in the border. I think she's 15 if I remember correctly, but she has of course matured and everything, so she is getting a lot of unwanted attention. And this kind of brings it up to the crux of the story, because there's the son of one of their neighbors and also a big town representative who is kind of flirting with Gloria, but kind of in a pushy way. So Robbie sees this and he gets really mad, and there's kind of a confrontation. He ends up kicking the other boy, and the father of that boy sees it and gets, you can't even say angry, it's livid in a not right way, and it ends up boxing his ears. So that's really bad. You can cause people to go deaf by boxing them in the ears, and it can cause a lot of other complications. But yeah, painful, extremely painful, and it was big. I want to say this is set in the 50s. Let me just make sure. Date, yep, 1950. So, still bad times, obviously. There's a lot of racial tension. Not that we're that much different today. But obviously, because of that, this white family, especially the father who wants to, kind of has it out for the kid's family to begin with, ends up getting him into more serious trouble where the police come and arrest Robbie, and he's taken to trial. And Robbie is sentenced to go, I think it's supposed to be for a short term. I don't remember if it was like 3 to 6 months. It wasn't supposed to be that long. But the problem is, and we just find this out as it goes, the problem is then that a lot of these situations with these reformatories, they would find ways to keep the kids for longer. So they would come up with some kind of infraction that the kid did, and they would extend the stay. So Gloria is working her hardest to try to get Robbie free from her end. And meanwhile, Robbie ends up at the reformatory. And this is a very strange situation at the reformatory. This is kind of why the reformatory is a horror story, is that there are actually ghost elements there. And from like the minute Robbie gets to the reformatory, he starts seeing the spirits. And these spirits are young people who have been murdered at the reformatory. And then it's figuring out how they've been murdered. And then also like what they want. There is a specific spirit that does have kind of a mission for Robbie to fulfill, since he can see the spirits, but they need a physical person to actually do for them. And yeah, so they start trying to talk to Robbie to get it. I don't know how far I want to go into it, but I mean, this is a really good story, but I was afraid the whole time because I know how these reformatories actually were in real life, and so I'm terrified for the characters like the whole time. That was where the horror was for me. And there are terrible things happening to these boys at this reformatory. Like it's horrible. And so, you know, I'm reading it with authentic like worry for these characters. Yes, they're characters, but it harkens back to places that have existed, and in some cases still do exist, maybe not to the same extent that they were, but it's still around and happening. And I don't know. So the whole point of the story is to try to get Robbie safely out of the reformatory and back into freedom, and hopefully get the kids reunited with their father, since it doesn't appear that his name will be cleared. And I just want to say, like, this is a great book. It was a great book. It had me on the edge of my seat. It made me feel for these characters. It was so well written. It was kind of painful to read, but it was very, very good. I would definitely recommend it. I would say if you have sensitivity issues to a lot of things, be cautious going into this book, but it's so good. Yeah, it was just great. Would recommend. The other books that I read specifically for my TBR were my light novels, and that was Your Forma and The Ephemeral Scenes of Setsuna's Journey. I loved both of these. There will probably be reviews for both of them. These are both volume 1s for these series. This one, we have I'm trying to remember if this is, yeah, essentially it's like an alt reality story. So this is like envision the current time period, but where there are androids that are around and interacting with humans. So like AI brains and everything. They're fully formed, very much like humans. Imagine humans using technology to dive into the brains of other humans, and part of how they can do that is because they've had things installed in their brains that allow them to be inputted with that sounds wrong, but essentially you can connect to somebody else's brain in order to search their memories and how that impacts crime investigation. And that's essentially what Your Forma gets into. Of course, I will give better thoughts on that when I actually review this, but interesting, like, sci-fi story. So yeah, I did enjoy it. I liked the character interactions. I don't want to get too much into it, but it was good. A fun science fiction that yeah, that was fun because I don't get to read too much science fiction, only occasionally. But this is nice as like a light novel having science fiction, because usually it's very much like isekai fantasy. And part of that I just want to make clear. I think the big part of why a lot of it is isekai fantasy is because that's what's sold, so they keep just bringing more and more over. I would love to see more variations in light novels and what we get, because I've read a couple others too that are good. Like I just finished Summer Ghost as well. That is more, that's kind of like paranormal mystery, I would say, but also like highly emotional. And then The Ephemeral Scenes of Setsuna's Journey is an isekai story. So like I just finished it. This is isekai fantasy. But it's so nice. Like it was a cozier vibe. Setsuna was a sickly person and was dying and trying to find a way to not die, obviously, to become well, but couldn't, ends up dying in that world and being reborn into this world where I think he's like kind of conscripted to be a hero. However, his illness has followed him to this other world, so he's kind of still bedridden and sick, and he ends up getting this hero come in who is like what is that whole thing? Like, he's about to offer him an opportunity and it's kind of like the Interview with a Vampire thing, a chance that to make the decision, a choice that he never received. So he's approached by this other hero who is not just that hero, but also carrying the memories of another hero. And he essentially tells him, I can grant you your freedom to where you can just go and travel the world and see all the sights that you've never been able to see because you've been so sick. And all you essentially have to do is let go of the body that you're currently stuck in. We're going to sort of merge and you get to take control. That sounds so weird, but it is like where they merge bodies and Setsuna is able to take on the powers of the previous heroes and gain his own freedom. Because in this world, like everybody that kind of gets conscribed as a hero has this bracelet that sort of monitors them and forces them to do the work of the hero. But the initial hero here, so the one before the one that's talking to Setsuna, but he found a way where it was early enough in the technology or something where his was able to deactivate, and so they're not being tracked. And if Setsuna merges with that body, his old body will die, and so he's just kind of, the slate's wiped clean for him, and he can go out about his business. And this is all like the pre-setup. This isn't what actually happens throughout the book. He does choose to do it and gains his freedom. He's actually very sad to do it because like the hero that he meets becomes like his first friend and the first person who has spoken kindly of him in this world. Like, he misses his family, but this is the first person in this world to become his friend, and he doesn't want to lose his friend, and it's really sad. But they end up merging, and he starts on his journey. And then lots of stuff happens. And if you want to hear a little bit more about what happens, just wait for my review, because I will be reviewing this one. Both of these were really good. This had more cozy vibes. This had more kind of crime solving sci-fi. So it was good. I enjoy solving crimes. I enjoy cozy fantasy. So they're both really great. Now I need to decide what I'm reading for March. So let me grab my little cards. And we'll do, I guess, library first, because I don't know if I'll be able to choose my book yet, or if I'm going to have to wait. Okay. The draw card is fan cards out and pick one at random. Okay, I can do that. Like, don't face them, so I'm gonna have to lay them flat so I can't see them through the camera either. So here they are, and I'm just gonna go this one because it's just like hanging out. Oh, read a most recent release. Well, that's cool. I don't have one picked out, so I'll update you when I do my April TBR. But there's a lot of great releases coming out, so I am sure I will find something and read it. Yeah, I'll find something because there's definitely a ton coming out right now. I think there's even more coming out more toward like, no, I take that back. Really, like February and March are the two big releases. Well, two of the big releases for the year. And then summer releases, but I won't worry about summer just yet. Okay. Now for some light novels. I'm just gonna, well, I guess I should mix it a little because I can't remember where I placed the last one I did. So we're gonna go number 1 is to draw 5 cards, look at them, put them face down, shuffle, and pick one without looking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5 options are read a book written by a new-to-year author. Read a book with "the" as the first word. I'm like, these two didn't shuffle because I've had those. Read a book you think will be a 5-star prediction. Read a book with your favorite color, and read the smallest book on your shelf. I feel like these didn't shuffle that well, but you know what? It's fine. It is what it is. So now I am shuffling those, and then they'll go to the bottom of the stack because I don't want to pull these next month. We'll go middle one, and that was read a book written by a new-to-you author. Okay. That I can do. So let's see. Give me a new one. So these here, definitely no, because they're all sequels to books that I read. So let me see. What is new? Those aren't new. That one might be new. I thought my one book was here. Maybe it's not. I think I put it on my other shelf. It's okay. I was just thinking that maybe I would do the villainess meet and fall in love. But I think I'm going to go with my one hardcover that's on here, The Eminence in Shadow. Because I always see it and I'm kind of intrigued, but I have no idea what it's like. I'm just checking the page number too, because I'm like, what am I in for? 237, that's not bad. So let's see, this is one big fat lie and a few twisted truths. Even in his past life, Sid's dream wasn't to become a protagonist or a final boss. He'd rather lie low as a minor character until it's prime time to reveal he's a mastermind, or at least do the next best thing, pretend to be one. And now that he's been reborn into another world, he's ready to set all the perfect conditions to live out his dreams to the fullest. Armed with his overactive imagination, Sid jokingly recruits members to his organization and makes up a whole backstory about an evil cult that they will need to take down. Well, as luck would have it, these imaginary adversaries turn out to be the real deal, and everyone knows the truth but him. So, this sounds kind of humorous. I will check it out and give it a go, but I do not believe I've ever read anything by this author. I sure hope so, because otherwise I'm not fulfilling my role here. But The Eminence in Shadow, and then number 2. Pick the number card with the number, month, year, and why is it always this one? Okay, that's fine. We will go with 3 because this is for March, even though we're in February. So 1, 2, 3. Read a book that matches your shirt. That is going to be very difficult. My shirt is very bright pink with hearts on it. But okay, we'll do the thing. I just want to set these down before I do, because I no longer need them. I have, I think, 2 options. This one might be more pink, though. I mean, more, more red. This one looks like it's more pink. They both look kind of ridiculous. And let's see, there's one other option too. I was going by the spine here. I think honestly, if I go by like the cover of the spine, because the front covers, they don't really have too much. I really think that though I am an inept villainess, the tale of the butterfly rat body swap in the maiden court. I'm sorry, that is the weirdest subtitle I've ever heard. Is perhaps the closest. I have no idea how I'm going to feel about this book. I don't even remember picking this up, to be honest. But hey, let's give it a go. We'll do that one. Oh, I just feel like this is going to be funny. And I'm looking down and I'm like, I totally could have done My Happy Marriage Volume 4, but I'll probably end up reading that regardless. It's probably good to get some of the ones like I haven't read at all yet off of my shelf. Because if I don't love it, I can always completely clear it from my shelves. But like, look at how cute My Happy Marriage would have been. I have so many sequels that I need to read, and I can't wait for. Like, I Swear I Won't Bother You Again, Volume 4. Okay, so there you have it. My TBR for March will include Though I Am an Inept Villainess, Tale of the Butterfly Rat Body Swap in the Maiden Court, and The Eminence in Shadow Volume 1. So, 2 new ones for me, which is exciting. I do like getting to read new stories. I'm checking it. Oh good, it's not like super thin print. I really hate the tiny print. This is a longer one though, at over 300 pages. This is probably one of the chunkiest light novels I've read. This one's pretty basic at like 230. It still won't take me that long to read them. But I will do these and then I'll pick out a new read, and I'm excited for that. So I'll have to browse my new releases at the library and I will fill you in when I do my April TBR. That is it for this video. Until next time, bye.